A few years ago, I sat across from a woman who ran a transcription business, a real one. At its peak, her team built hundreds of hours a month, turning audio into clean, accurate text. She had niched down hard, and for a long time, that niche paid beautifully. But by the time we talked, work had mostly evaporated. The machines got good. Now she gets a call once in a while a human has to check that the software did not mangle something important. A great niche right up until the ground moved out from underneath her. Niching down is a brilliant strategy for the world as it is right now. It's a risky bet on the world staying exactly the way it is. Go back to year 1900. If you hadn't niched down on making buggy whips, you'd have a wonderful business. Specialized, defensible, profitable. Then the car arrived, and the entire niche, it fell into almost nothing. The person who only built websites by hand watched a softer version of the same thing happen this decade. The skill, it gets worse. The ground moves, and the world changes. I'm Camper Bull. I'm a fractional CMO, COO, and the founder of Venture Gained. Today, I want to talk to you about the very thing that builds a business to $1 or $2 million by picking one lane and going deep is often the thing that also taps it. And what the research on long careers says you should do instead. In 2022, a Stanford professor named Justin Bird published a study in Administrative Science Quarterly called The One-Hit Wonders versus the Hit Makers. He tracked tens of thousands of artists and millions of songs because he wanted to know why some creators are the one-hit wonders and others keep producing hits for decades after decades. He found two things that predicted the long run: novelty and variety. The creators who lasted had early work that was more varied and more unusual than their peers. The ones who flamed out had early work that was narrow and conventional. The safe now start is the most likely to give you your first hit and the least likely to give you your second. And here is the cruel twist he found. A novel, varied body of early work actually makes your first hit less likely. Doing the weird, broad thing costs up front, but if you break through anyway, that same variety becomes the engine that keeps you relevant because you have more to draw from, and the world already sees you as someone who can do more than just one thing. Two musicians came up in the same London scene at the same time. One of them was David Bowie, who kept reinventing himself, confused his fans, and looked scattered for years, and then stayed creatively relevant for over 4 decades. The other found his lane early, had a massive hit, and faded once the moment passed, with nowhere else to go. Bowie looked lost for a while. He was actually building a range he would spend the rest of his life cashing in on. Now bring that back to your business. The narrow niche that you got $1 million is equivalent of that first hit as it worked. The danger is believing that road to 10 million is simply more of the exact same thing done harder or faster. The moment that gets you to $1 million is often the ceiling at 3, because the market you nail is the market that will change first. But Camper, you might say, you're always told to really niche down. We've all heard the riches are in the niches. Are you telling me to be a generalist and water everything down? No, absolutely not. Niching down is how you start. You should absolutely pick a lane and get traction. And I tell founders that constantly. What I'm warning against is mistaking the starting move from the whole game. Niche to get into it, then deliberately add range before the market forces you to, while you still have the cash and the time to experiment, instead of after the ground has already moved. This is where I part ways with a lot of advice out there. A guru sells you a single framework and a single niche because one framework is what scales for the guru. A new AI tool makes whatever you already do faster, which feels great right up until they make your whole niche cheap. I'm a huge fan of a good mastermind, and I use them myself, but a framework on a slide is not the same as an operating partner who watches the actual numbers and tells you the niche that you built is starting to narrow into a trap. When I sit in the business, part of my job is to watch the horizon for the founder, to notice when the thing that is working is also the thing quietly setting a ceiling, and to start the next experiment before the current niche runs out of room. That transcription founder, the work left for her now is the human check on the machine, the judgment a model, an AI model or otherwise, cannot fully replace. That is the new niche hiding inside that old one. She did not necessarily need a new industry. She needed to add range before the machines arrived, not after. So 3 things to hold on to. 1, niching down is the right way to start, and it's a dangerous place to stop. 2, variety and novelty in your work are what sustains a business past the first win. 3, add range or purpose while you still have room instead of waiting for the market to force it. This week, write down the one capability of your business you are known for, and then ask the question, if a machine or a computer made that capability 10 times cheaper next year, what would I still get paid for? I built a worksheet called the Niche Drift Map that walks you through it. The link is in the description below, and then comment below with the answer to that question. What would you still get paid for? I read them, and if you run a business between $1 and $3 million and you want to build that range alongside other founders, the link to the Venture Gain community is down there too. Niche to get in, add range to stay. I look forward to talking to you soon. Camper, thanks for tuning into today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Venture Gained.